Is it? Adam Chance is due here in less than an hour.
Yes, I'm glad you popped in, Valerie.
How are you, David? I brought J. Henry's suggestions as to how you should run the annual general meeting.
I was going to suggest that as you're not a member of the board, you do not attend the meeting.
And why is that?
It's going to be a messy business.
If it's run as it should be. Very messy for Adam Chance.
I'd like the execution to be as clean as possible. Now, since your husband knows we're going to win, I'm confident he'll participate in a civilized manner. Jill, I expect, won't say a word. I'm afraid, however, I know just how extreme your feelings are about Adam. And I don't believe you'll be able to restrain yourself from rubbing salt into his wounds.
Are you formally forbidding me to attend?
I regret I must.
Then your formality is wasted. I've no intention of attending.
Hello. Yes, I suppose so. David, Lucy wants to see you.
Very well.
All right, send her in, will you?
As my feelings for Lucy are certainly under control, I shall stay and watch. Anything to do with Lucy is bound to be something to do with Richard Lloyd. And Richard is, after all, under personal contract to my husband.
Morning, Lucy.
Morning, all.
Won't you sit down?
Morning.
I shan't be here long enough to make it worthwhile. I've asked the receptionist to make out my bill. I shall be leaving the motel this morning. As for settlement of the bill, I shall be paying in cash, not by cheque.
You'll be paying in cash.
We tramps have a way of drumming up the necessary.
Won't you be waiting for your mother?
I feel I've waited long enough, don't you?
I see. You're going to join her in Italy.
Now that Richard has gone to Canada.
No, Mrs. Pollard, I shan't be joining her in Italy.
Will you be expecting any mail?
I beg your pardon?
The postal sort, dear.
Why?
Well, if you are, would you like to leave a forwarding address?
Oh, yes. What a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. I'll write it down for you.
Here we are.
Thank you.
Now, you're going far?
Flying. Give Mother my best regards, if and when she turns up. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Well, just wait until J. Henry hears about that. He's gone to enormous trouble to wrap Richard in a contract and shoot him round the world just to avoid that young lady. He needn't have bothered.
Where will she get the cash?
Well, from Richard, I expect. Parting gesture.
No. No. He left an open cheque to cover her bill if needed.
Ah, well, it won't be needed, will it? So let me join in the tearing up that's been going on in this office recently.
Look at this.
Good heavens.
What's that?
It's a forwarding address. Canada. Worse than that. It's the address where Richard and Gina are staying. In fact, mail is to be sent in care of Richard.
Well, I've heard of the Mounties getting their man, but this is ridiculous. You better warn Richard.
Yes.
Enough cash to pay the motel bill, plus enough money on top to get an air ticket. Who's her sugar daddy this time, I wonder?
A grievance.
Well, I got every right of it, Mr. Banks. After all, 10 quid a week's a lot of money, you know. Can't turn a blind eye to that.
Well, Mac did have certain personal problems.
Yeah, sure. I understand that. But we carry the workload, share it between us, right? So, you know, what's good for the goose? I mean, after all, times are hard, aren't they? You know that. I mean, the extra money to me make a lot of difference.
What's the general feeling?
I mean, general.
The lads in the workshop, Nobby, Benny and everybody.
Well, in the dark about it, aren't they? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they can stay that way.
Stay.
Well, it's not general knowledge up to now if we can negotiate, right?
You think that fair?
Well, not really, but I mean, a fella got to look after himself, hasn't he?
Tell me, Sid, how come you knew about Mac's increase and the others didn't?
We were opening our pay packets together. He just let a little hint drop, you know, in an unguarded moment. He was sorry after, but I'm not slow on the uptake, you know.
No.
Anyway, you needn't worry. They know nothing about it in there, okay?
I do worry. I like everything to be open and above board.
Well, what do you mean exactly?
When I agreed to Mac's increase, I didn't intend just to favor him, you know. It was going to be straight across the board.
What, for all of us, like?
Yes.
Well, she said nothing about it, Sharon.
Because she didn't know. It doesn't come into effect for any of you till next week. By that time, she'll be told. Then she'll pass the word round.
Oh, well, that's great. Well, look, I'm sorry I sort of, you know, put my 2 penny thing, but I didn't realize it was on the cards. Look, I'll keep my lips buttoned, right? And you can tell him in your own good time, okay?
You do that, Sid. One thing I do appreciate is a little cooperation.
You'll get that from me every time, Mr. Black. Thanks.
Suzette, Glenda Banks will need these when she comes back on duty at the cashier's desk. New guests are to be billed on account, and please make sure that Miss Hamilton is removed from account as she's leaving the motel before luncheon.
Right. Oh, fancy that.
That will be all, Suzette, thank you. Well, ready to leave?
Yes, provided you've got my ticket.
Yes, here we are. I hope you don't mind. It's only economy class.
Well, of course I do. But seeing as you've already provided the cash for my motel bill, I'll just have to be grateful for any more of your small mercies.
Small. I have beggared myself in your cause.
You beggared yourself in your own cause. Listen, do you know what I've just done?
Uh-huh.
Well, they asked me for a forwarding address, so I gave them Richard's.
I don't think that's wise.
Who knows what's wise? The thing is, Richard's gone to Scotland first, so I shall get to Canada before he does. And imagine what I'll say to Gina about him expecting her to move out because I am moving in.
I dread to think what it might be. Even so, I didn't quite expect these bull-at-the-gate tactics. Gina Moran is a very cool girl, so cool, in fact, I want to marry her.
Oh, well, I don't think she'll be very cool when I tell her that Richard couldn't face her with the truth and that he's marrying me instead of her.
Come to think of it, she's also a very dignified girl. It might just work. She might disdain to hang around a man so weak.
Or to argue with a tramp so determined.
Now, be careful how you go about your little expedition, Lucy, in which I've invested not only my own money, but everything I feel for Gina.
Even though you feel you've got much less of a chance with her than I have with Richard.
That's how much I love her, yes.
Parting kiss. Goodbye. Keep on hoping.
Just a minute. When you paid your motel bill with the money I gave you, did you have any left over?
Skin flint.
I asked merely because I wondered if you had enough should you be left out in the cold in Canada.
Dear Paul, I intend to have nothing like enough. How else am I going to make Richard realize that he's just got to look after me? Goodbye, Mr. and Mrs. Pollard.
Your taxi's waiting.
Ah, lovely. I've left an overnight bag under the counter. Thank you. And, could you send a porter to my chalet to collect the rest of my luggage?
Certainly.
Super. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That girl looks as if she's checked out.
She has.
Good.
No, it isn't. Indications are that she's going to Canada to join Richard.
I'm not going to have that.
And how are you going to stop it?
How do you stop any little tramp in the end? You buy her out.
Do you know where David Hunter is?
Why?
I've one or two things to say to him.
Well, he may have had a pleasant flight over here, but he certainly seems set on a bumpy landing.
And you seem to have forgotten you were going to buy out a little tramp.
She's just a detail now. I want to see Adam Chance's every move. This is the place to watch from. He'll be coming back from his chalet shortly, searching for David Hunter. Here he is. I told you he wouldn't be long.
Has David Hunter come back yet, please?
Yes, but he's busy at the moment.
Will you ring through and tell... No, give him a minute or so.
Okay.
Up ahead of steam.
I wonder what he's up to.
I've a fair idea.
How long is it since the last increase?
1st of January.
Well, I'd have thought that would be it for the year.
Yes, but it wasn't a negotiated settlement. It was a parting gesture on behalf of Res Lamont.
Well, even so, under the circumstances.
Joe MacDonald had certain personal problems. It was either a question of giving him the extra money or of his going elsewhere to find it.
Oh, a bit hopeful these days, isn't it?
Well, Sharon seemed to think he'd pull it off. He's got a lot of contacts, and he's a very good man.
Granted.
Well, Sharon didn't want to lose him, so all in all, I gave in. Then, of course, word got out.
As always.
And first thing this morning, Sid Hooper was in, angling for his bite of the cherry.
Oh, I'd like to see Sid Hooper getting himself a new job if you turned him down.
No, that's not the point. I mean, I agree it'd be much easier to replace than Mac, but could create a lot of disturbance before he left in the workshop. We could find ourselves looking for an entire new staff.
Hello? Oh, he has he? Just a moment. Someone to see you.
Who?
I think they said the name was Adam Chance.
Right. So, what do you suggest?
We make it 8% across the board.
Send him in, please.
Well, I hadn't bargained for that. We've done nothing but spend money on the place ever since Reg Lamont left.
You don't have to tell me. We're only talking about less than £50 a week on the wage bill. Surely we can run to that.
Well, it doesn't seem you left us with much choice. You should have had this talk before you made a decision.
Yes, well, when I agreed to Mac's increase, I thought the whole thing could be contained. Obviously, I was wrong, and I'm sorry. What would you have done? Stood out against it?
Compromised eventually.
And risked losing somebody we didn't want to lose.
And they'd run the risk of losing their jobs. However, we'll have it clearly stated in writing that this freezes wages at that level for the next 12 months. Come in.
All right, I'll see to that. And I did compromise.
Oh?
MacDonald originally asked for 20. Excuse me.
Yes, of course.
So, Adam?
I understand you were sent a form to fill in about my application for a managerial position with a London company.
Yes, I was.
I got back from Cyprus yesterday. I went to find out what had happened to my application. It had been turned down.
Bad luck?
Was it? Or was it just bad blood?
Well, if you say what you're hinting at, I might be able to answer.
I'm not hinting, David. I'm accusing. I first heard of the possibility of that position from somebody who worked in the company and recommended me for the job. I asked that person what had got in the way, particularly as I had been led to believe that my application was only a formality. I was told that you had got in the way.
And I have only just been made aware that you were unsuccessful. And I can assure you, I was not approached to contribute to the decision of a company with which I have no personal connection.
Why did you fill in the form at all?
Commercial courtesy.
I can tell you I had no idea you'd be sent the damn thing.
Nor had I.
I repeat, were you so eager to damage me that you wrote a pack of lies on that form?
You'd have been better off if I had.
Had?
I filled in that form throughout, simply and truthfully. And the truth about you is what will always hurt you most. The fact nobody can help except yourself.
I hold you responsible for the fact that I am out of the one job that could have put me back on my feet again. Do you know about that form that David filled in about me?
Yes.
Ah, so you were party to the character assassination.
I was unaware that you had any character to assassinate.
How long and how far do you propose to wager this campaign against me? What keeps you at it? For a whole year now, I have not come within sight or sound of you.
Unfortunately, you have done so now.
I might never have had to have done so again if you hadn't have stood in the way of my getting that London position. Has your hatred blinded you, J. Henry?
You know, I simply cannot bear listening to people squabbling over spilt milk. I shall see you at lunch, Jay.
Keep out of her way, Chance. Don't let me catch you again within 10 yards of her.
So that's it, is it? An old man's jealousy. Oh, by the way, what time is the AGM tomorrow?
Noon.
Oh, it's not a good time. It presupposes a short meeting before lunch. It won't be short. I have the idea that you and David are going to try and buy me out. Well, you stood a strong possibility in succeeding until that London position went. Now I wouldn't sell at any price. You've lumbered yourself with me, J. Henry.
So you can speak for all of them, then?
I think so, yeah.
That's not good enough. We want total agreement on this.
Well, let's look at it this way. They know nothing about it out there, so you can go out there and tell them they got an extra 10 quid a week in their wage.
No, I didn't say anything about £10 a week.
Come again?
We're talking in percentages. Now, £10 a week is 8% for Mac. It's not £10 for everybody, it's 8%.
Well, okay, go and tell him that. They'll be over the moon. You'll have no trouble with those.
And I shall want a written undertaking that there'll be no more wage claims this year.
Ah, well. That might be a bit difficult, see, because it's a long time till the end of the year, isn't it?
Is that or nothing?
What are you doing, going back on your word?
Look, Sid, I own half this garage. The other half is owned jointly by the motel. Now, I've just come from a meeting with David Hunter, a very belated meeting. By rights, I should have discussed all this with him before making any decision whatsoever.
Well, it's a bit of a pose, isn't it, that? You couldn't sort of, backdate it or anything, could you?
What?
Well, say a month. Okay, Gov. Lay out what you want, right? And I'll talk to the boys and push it through for you. How about that?
No hitches.
No hitches. Ironed out smooth as silk, I promise.
Good for you, Sid.
But I can look forward to every week now a little extra in my pay packet, right?
You can.
And that goes for overtime as well?
Naturally.
Great.
Hello, Adam.
Hello. A drink?
Yes. Yes, I think I will. I'd like, a dry ginger ale with lots and lots of ice, please.
You surprised me.
Well, it is only noon, and I really don't feel like starting this early.
Could I have a dry ginger ale from Mrs. Hunter, please, and I'll have the same again?
Yes, right away.
No, when I said you surprised me, I meant I'm surprised that there is anyone who doesn't actually mind sitting in a bar with me.
I didn't say I didn't mind, Adam, but I do believe in politeness between enemies. And also, I must be the only woman around here that you haven't made a pass at. And for that, I'm grateful.
Even so, you'd rather that I hadn't turned up for the annual general meeting. You'll vote against me at every opportunity. Cheers.
Cheers. No.
What?
Actually, I'm astounded you had the nerve to turn up at all, but now that you have, I'm really rather glad.
I don't believe that.
I assure you, it's the best thing that's happened to the management in a very long time.
I'll still go on disbelieving you, but I do appreciate your politeness.
You've brought everyone together, you see. Everyone's stopped fighting each other to fight you. It's not total peace, but more than usually prevails around here.
Perhaps I should come here more often.
Do you intend to?
I might well.
The figures on the requisitions you wanted.
Oh, thank you, Jill.
Hello, Jill.
Hello, Adam.
Another warm welcome.
Well, what did you expect?